What is up, everybody? We're back here at King Film Sports for the NFL Week 14 betting locks and game picks after we just had a spectacular weekend of football, NFL, and college over the past few days. So here to recap it first, and in terms of our betting locks, was not a great one for the video. If you were in the Discord, we did give out a few live bets, especially in that afternoon slate, which did end up hitting, and a few great player props. But yeah, let's go through the damage here. So we started it out with the Bears plus 10.5, got the best of the number. This was the sharp side. Didn't look like it in the first half as the Bears absolutely got trounced. We're down 16-0. Probably should have been worse if their defense didn't force a couple turnovers and field goals. But then they end up getting into it late and have a chance to potentially tie or take the lead, and then the ultimate decision to let the clock keep running, ran about 30 seconds off the clock late there when they had a timeout after a sack, and then they end up losing there. Matt Eberflus, their coach, ends up getting fired. Caleb Williams taking some blame there as well for that clock management disaster. Lions escape by 3. Then we had the Giants-Cowboys game. A lot of people watched this game, but was not very entertaining. In our first half, under 19.5, gets killed on a pick six. It was a tip ball by Overshone on the Cowboys, and he ends up taking it to the house himself, and that ended up killing it there. Other than that, it was a pretty boring game. Giants did end up starting Drew Lock, but they're just a worse team at this point than the Dallas Cowboys. Might be the worst team in the league there, and they did cut it to a 7-point deficit late, but they were just down that whole game. And then we had the Dolphins plus 3.5 against the Packers. I mean, this was just a complete misread because, yes, it did have value, and I think if they play this one on a neutral site, the Dolphins are probably undervalued, but you just cannot quantify the effect of that cold weather on this Miami team. We've seen it time and time again. They just fold, and especially with the muff punt early and some missed tackles, you knew it was going to be a tough day. So we did cash a live bet with this Dolphins team live as they kind of came back sort of the end, but really that first half put it away for this Packers team there. Then we get to some of these other Sunday games. Bengals, Steelers, we got the best of the number at the minus 2.5, moved to 3, and don't really want to be laying that in these AFC North divisional clashes. But we looked good early as the Bengals offense was humming. Russell Wilson throws a pick six out of the gate. But then the Steelers just absolutely pummel this Bengals defense, scoring 44 points. Russell Wilson over 400 yards passing was one of his best days ever, and this Bengals defense is just so putrid. I thought that Joe Burrow and this Bengals offense actually played very well, scored 38 points there against a pretty stingy Steelers defense, but ultimately it just was not enough as the Steelers get the best of them there, really take over in that second half and put themselves in firm position atop that AFC North. Then we had the Colts minus 2.5, was probably a bit of a square play, but we did get the best of the number here as it then moved to 3. And really in this game, the Colts were not able to control the line of scrimmage as much as I thought that they would, and it was just close throughout. And then the Patriots end up taking a late lead. Drake May was able to move the ball better than I thought against this Indianapolis defense. I probably overvalued this Colts defense coming into this game, and they really got exposed there. But then Anthony Richardson leads them to a touchdown drive late, and Shane Steichen decides to go for 2. I think the Colts probably could have covered in overtime there, but they run Richardson up the middle. He does get it, and the Patriots miss a long field goal attempt late. So the Colts end up winning by 1. Was just a brutal beat there. It was a very close game, and probably the minus 2.5 was the wrong side in this one, but just tough to see that we couldn't at least get overtime in that one. And then we had the Titans Commanders. Just everything that could have went wrong for this Tennessee team. It was absolutely brutal. I think they started out the game down 28-0, made a late comeback effort to cut it down a bit, but yes, this Commanders team got back on the right side of it. And this Tennessee team just back to their old ways with stupid turnovers, and their defense was absolutely abysmal in that one. Then we had the Panthers plus the 6.5. Panthers seem to be surging here late in the season. Bryce Young is playing much better football, and I actually think they should have won this game. They were in it the whole way and end up losing it late in overtime there. But yes, Bryce Young I thought was brilliant late in the game, leading a touchdown drive. Bucks then get a late field goal and then end up winning it in overtime. But yes, this Carolina team, much better. They are now losing these very close games, if not winning. So I thought it was a great month of November for them there, but the Bucks do end up getting the win. And then on Sunday Night Football, just tried to catch a falling knife, I guess, with this Niners team, but they are just absolutely horrible with all of these injuries. And the Bills came to play on Sunday Night Football. Josh Allen auditioning for that MVP, and he was spectacular in this game. Niners put up a fight early, but just made a few huge mistakes and just could not get over them. And then that defense continues to be awful there. Bills were able to do whatever they wanted in that one, so that capped a pretty dismal week for us. But we are here to bounce back as always. Be sure to fade me if you don't believe in these picks based on the past performance. But now we get into a great Week 14 slate here, and started out with a fantastic game on Thursday night between the 11-1 Lions hosting the 9-3 Packers. And in this game for NFC North supremacy here, give us the Packers plus the 3.5. Love the hook there, as I think they are a surging team right now. I did bet against them last week against the Dolphins, but they proved me wrong in that one. This running game is absolutely lethal, and I think they will get revenge on this Lions team for that game a few weeks ago in Lambeau where Jordan Love was banged up and just did not play good football against that Detroit defense. I think that this Lions defense is reeling from a few big injuries here in the past few weeks, and I think that's going to catch up to them in this game on Thursday night here. I think that the Lions offense will have to be brilliant, which they definitely were not against that Chicago team. They did put up a lot of yards in production, but just were not able to finish off those drives. I think against a similar Packers defense, they will struggle here, so give us the plus 3.5. I also like the under 51.5. I just think that with these two teams, yes, they're not on a short week, but they are coming off of less rest in total because they did play the Sunday before Thanksgiving, so this is kind of 3 games in 11 days. Just a tough spot for both of these teams here, so I do think that they will chew clock a little bit more, especially this Lions team. Try to hog the time of possession battle, both of these teams, and we did see it be very low scoring given in some inclement weather in Green Bay earlier this season, but I do think it follows kind of a similar game to that, so I think it's around 24-20 in this one. Do think the Packers win outright, but give us the plus 3.5 as well there. And then we get to the Sunday slate. Started out with the Jets and the Dolphins here. This one is a tough one because this Jets team, I mean, have they completely given up? They played very well early in that game last week. Just a couple big situational mistakes. Aaron Rodgers throws a pick 6 to Leonard Williams and just not able to be good enough to get the job done late. And then that Miami team coming off of, yes, long rest, but they got humiliated against the Packers, and really that was a devastating blow for their playoff chances there. Now 3 wins behind the Broncos. So we will see, but Miami in the spot the past few weeks with these lesser teams coming into Hard Rock at home. They've been especially potent on offense here. Tua has been rolling in these types of spots, and I just think that this Jets team might have given up there, so give us the Dolphins to win outright. Then we're looking at the Falcons and the Vikings. Kirk Cousins playing against his former team, and he would like to get some revenge here, but he did not play well last week against the Chargers. 4 interceptions, and the pick 6 to the out route on the right side was absolutely horrid. Ended up losing the game for them. And against a tough Minnesota defense here, Brian Flores and company in Minnesota here, this is just such a tough spot. You've got to like the Vikings here. I think they are flying a little close to the sun. They're definitely fraudulent at that 10-2 record. Should have a few more losses tacked on there, but I just don't see it in this spot against this reeling Atlanta team in their own right. Coming off the bye there, just a putrid effort on offense against the Chargers. So I think that continues here. Give me the Vikings to win that one there. Then we get to a pretty bad matchup between the Saints and the Giants here, but actually the Saints still in the division somehow, only down 2 games, and we will take the Saints to win this one here, as I know this Giants team is coming off of long rest, but they are just so bad at this point. Everything, the defense, the offensive line. We'll see who they start at quarterback, Drew Lock or Tommy DeVito. Probably doesn't matter in this matchup. I do know that the Saints lost Taysom Hill. That's big for their offense. Probably thought they should have won that LA Rams game. It was very close at home for them last week there, but I do think that Derek Carr will be able to carve up this Giants defense, so give us the Saints to win big in New York. Then we get to a betting lock on Sunday here. Give us the Panthers team total over 16 against this Eagles team. Philadelphia, yes, great win in Baltimore last week here. And now only 2 losses, maybe a push for the 1 seed in the NFC. And I do think that they will be able to run it all over this Panthers team, which is why I don't love the Panthers spread plus 12.5 or 13. Don't hate it either, though, because this Panthers team has been playing very close, surging lately with a couple close losses. But I do think that Bryce Young against this Eagles defense will be able to put up some points, even if it's in garbage time here, because the Eagles have put it out of reach. I just think that this Panthers team has been more competitive in recent weeks, and this total is so low. They're basically implying that the Eagles are going to absolutely stomp this Panthers team, which I do not think will be the case. I think it will be competitive for at least a few quarters there, and Bryce Young will put up some numbers, so give us the Panthers team total over in that one. Then the Steelers and the Browns. Saw this game a couple weeks ago on Thursday night. Was a great game in Cleveland there. Think that the Steelers win this game, but would not be counting it out if Cleveland and this Jameis Winston offense were able to put up some points there and shock the Steelers team once again. But since that game, you saw the Steelers play great in Cincinnati, and the Browns coming off of a short week here after a tough Monday Night Football loss where Jameis throws for 500 yards and 3 interceptions. So you get the whole Jameis Winston experience here, and I think against this Pittsburgh defense the second time, it's going to be pretty brutal for them there. No result would shock me in this game, but I do think that the Steelers are overall the better team, so give me them to win at home. Then we get into another betting lock. Give us the Raiders plus the 7 points here in Tampa Bay. Was very impressed with them on Black Friday in that game in Kansas City. Yes, it is a divisional rivalry, and the Chiefs tend to play everyone close, but I was just impressed with the Raiders, especially that offense with Aiden O'Connell. They definitely should have won that game. 3 missed field goals by a usually reliable Carlson, and then a late snafu with the missed snap there from Aiden O'Connell. So do think that the Raiders will be reinvigorated coming off of some extra rest against this Tampa Bay team who, let's be honest, they are not some great team in this league. They're probably a little below average at this point, barely could get over the Carolina Panthers last week on the road here. I just think this is too many points here for this Raiders team, so give me them +7. I think they could potentially win outright just because they've been so unlucky in recent weeks, but definitely take them +7 there. Then we get to a horrible matchup, probably a tanking matchup between the Jags and Titans. The losing team is probably better off here than the winning team in terms of draft order, but we will take the Titans to win this one as this Jags team, yes, they did put up a good fight last week, but Lawrence, just an absolutely devastating hit last week by Azeez Al-Shire there, and he gets knocked out of the game, and then we're back to the Mac Jones experience, and he is absolutely awful. I know that Will Levis isn't great, but Mac Jones is probably just the worst starting quarterback that we have in this league coming into this week. So I do like the Titans there at home. I think they also probably have a deeper roster. Jags have been hit with some brutal injuries there, so give us the Titans to win at home. Then we got a divisional battle, NFC West here, and this is for the division lead. We know that a couple weeks ago, this Cardinals team went into Seattle and absolutely laid an egg there. Then played better this last week in Minnesota, but ended up losing it late. So in this matchup, give us the Cardinals minus the 2.5 as a betting lock in this one. I feel really good about them bouncing back off of that Minnesota loss. And then the Seahawks riding high here, a little too high in my opinion. We remember a few weeks ago when they course corrected in Santa Clara against the Niners, winning that game late, but I thought that was a very lucky win. Then you had that Cardinals game that I already mentioned. Kyler threw a big pick six there, and the Cardinals just looked horrible in that one. And then they win in New York against the Jets. I thought that that was a very close game, and they gave the Jets too many opportunities, really lucky to get that win. So just think that they're doomed for a loss here, and I do think that this Cardinals team is due to play very well and get a win here. I also like the under 44 in this matchup as well. I think that this is going to be a low-scoring, ugly NFC West game here, and I think that the Cardinals end up on top. Then we get to the 10-2 Bills at the Rams. I think this is a classic trap spot for Buffalo here, so give me the Rams to win outright. May end up adding a betting lock on the Rams spread later in the week. I don't feel too confident in it, but I just feel like it's one of those spots where the Bills look great on Sunday Night Football here. 10-2, Josh Allen playing very well, and this Rams team at home just finds a way to get it done there because I do think that they have the passing attack to get it done there with Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. And I do think that Stafford is due for a big game and the Bills' potential letdown flying across the country. Yes, I know that half of the fans in the stadium will be Bills fans, but I do think that it will just be a high-scoring clash and potentially a tough spot there for Buffalo. So give me the Rams to win outright. Then, just a brutal matchup between two fading teams. Give me the Niners to win this one. I do know that the Bears are getting the interim head coaching bump, proverbial dead cat bounce in this spot and coming off of long rest, but they've just lost 6 in a row. This team is just horrible at this point, even though Caleb Williams has been playing well, and the Niners in their own right not playing very well with a lot of injuries. We just saw that Christian McCaffrey out for the season and Jordan Mason. Luckily, they do have Isaac Guerrero there, but just brutal what has happened to them over the past few weeks and this whole season with the injuries. But still, with all that being said, I've got to pick a winner in this matchup. I think San Francisco probably wins at home. Absolutely no confidence in that matchup there. Between two pretty bad teams at this point. And then finally, we get to the Sunday Night Football matchup. This one should be spectacular between the Chargers and the Chiefs. Give me the Chargers plus the 4. I think they went outright, and also the under 43 in this one. Chargers, very good game in Atlanta last week, coming off of a short week after that tough Baltimore loss here. But I've been pretty impressed with Justin Herbert. He didn't have it in that Atlanta game. That was just a tough spot for them there, but their defense carried them. So I think that their defense plays very well against Kansas City. Remember, these two teams played in, I think, week 3 or 4, and we took the Chargers plus 8 in that matchup. And Herbert was banged up in that matchup, didn't play well, but the Chargers defense stifled the Kansas City offense. I think it'll be similar to that one here, and I just think that Herbert will be better here. I think that him and this Chargers running scheme will do well enough to get the job done. Maybe only put up 20 points here, probably a 20-17 matchup either way, but give me the Chargers plus the 4 points. I think they win outright in a very ugly game. I mean, you saw the Chiefs last week against a horrible Raiders team, and they only scored 19 points, so I think that they score less here, even at home against this Chargers team here. I think that Mahomes and this offense continue to struggle in primetime. And then finally, we get to the Sunday Night Football matchup, Bengals and Cowboys. And who would have thought that the Cowboys actually have a better record here? I will take the Bengals here, as I think they're still undervalued just because of how well this offense has been playing. But yes, their defense is so bad, so definitely no betting lock against the spread in this one, especially considering that the Bengals are favored by 6 in this matchup. I just cannot believe that, but I do not want to bet against them, especially for this Cowboys team who seem to be pretty bad. I mean, these last few wins that they've been getting have been pretty lucky, and against the Giants, that's just a horrible team there, although they do have a big rest advantage playing on Thanksgiving and now Monday night at home, but I just think that Burrow will go off for this Bengals team there and carry them to a victory. So with all that being said, let me know what you guys think of my predictions in the comments down below. What do you think of the against the spread plays? Will you be tailing or fading? What do you think of the few under spots that I have this week? Let me know in the comments down below. As always, be sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.